Hey everybody, what is going on and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at how to do prototype darts. So prototype darts are a quest item that are part of the tourist trap quest, but the prototype darts also happen to be one of the best ways and fastest ways to earn Fletching XP in the game. If you haven't looked at my 10-hour stream that I didn't even get 70 Fletching because I accidentally let 250 of my prototype darts despawn on the ground, which, hopefully with this guide, you guys won't run into the same problems that I did, or you may be a little bit more knowledgeable on how it works and how to do it. So first, we're going to make our way over to the Shanty Pass. And when we get to the Shanty Pass, I will show you guys how I set up my bag, and I'll explain why we set up our bag the way we do. So I also recommend, as an early level thing, complete Princely Rescue, because then you can just one-click the border guards and they'll let you on through. As far as setting up the bag, we'll go into my bank real quick. If you did not know, there is a bank chest here that you can use. We will be using this often. So here's the bag. You need one hammer. Now, you're going to need more than one bronze bar. Now, if you've already successfully made one prototype dart tip, you will not need a bronze bar. You will need quite a few. I think it took me almost like 6 bronze bars, and I literally only made the prototype dart successfully on the last bronze bar. So, you will need bronze bars to start off, but you only need to successfully make one prototype dart. So we'll go ahead and put that back into our bank. Now what you do need is you need one Shanty Pass, which you can buy from Shanty or the shop owner assistant. You will need the technical plans. You will get these doing the tourist trap quest. As I said before, you need to progress far enough into the tourist trap quest that you can get the technical plans. And what you'll need is you'll need 5 bag slots. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll need 5, and personally the reason why I do it is because once you use the Shanty Pass, as you'll see here, and then just make your way down to the Bedian camp, Bedabin camp, or Bedabin camp. I actually don't know how that's pronounced. Now, if you're low level, dodge the desert wolves. I don't mind fighting them. I mean, it's only 3 rounds of combat, but if you're low level doing this, be careful of the wolves. They will deal quite a decent bit of damage to you. So I did cook up some interesting training methods for this as far as gathering the prototype darts. Personally, I would do it the way that most other people do it, which is just drop one, pick it back up, make it until you make another one, pick your stack back up, then drop them. What you need to do first is drop the shanty disclaimer. You need to have 4 open bag slots. So just drop the disclaimer, and then you can see I've got the NPC info on. Most of you will probably have it like this. If you're playing RSC Plus, you can toggle NPC info. And you can see there's a Nomad Guard. You'll need to right click and use the technical plans on the Nomad Guard. And then they should just shuffle you right in. Yep. So I like to zoom in like this. It doesn't really matter how far you zoom in, to be honest, but I like to do it like that. So the reason that you want 4 bag slots is because when you right click here, now I have a gaming mouse and I use RSC Plus, so you're able to select chat options with numbers. So I just remapped one of the side buttons to 1, so I could just do this. And you'll look down here, and we didn't make one through an unlucky accident, but you can see, so it goes through the chat. Oh, we did not manage to make one. Hopefully this time we will. And then that's how you can tell you made it. It's a sharp pointed object. And then when you see the attached feathers, now we have a prototype dart tip. And you can see I do not have any bronze bars in my bag. That's because for some reason there was a bug that was present in the original version of Classic, and you could just make one successful prototype dart tip, and then you could just sit here and continuously do them. Now, obviously, on OG Classic, you did not have the keyboard commands. Actually, I take that back. You actually would have in 2016 had the keyboard commands because RC Plus came out in 2016. But for the longest time, from 2001 till 2016, you did not have that option. So this would have been a lot grindier, I think, if I didn't have that as an option. It would take a lot longer. And if you watch Orburn's video, he does click and then have to click up here. I don't believe the OpenRC client has that as an option. But then what I do is I just drop the prototype dart tip, come over here, and you do it again, and again, and again. And there you go, you can see we successfully made one. And then bam, you'll see it turn 5, and then I pick it up, and then we drop the stack again. Now, one thing that I tested out is if you have a full bag and you make a prototype dart tip, it will actually drop the prototype dart tip on the ground. Now, that could be useful if you just wanted to try to sit here and spam, but the problem is that that requires you to drop your full stack on the ground, and what happened is I wound up accidentally, I say accidentally, I did not realize that they were going to despawn that quickly. I accidentally let 250 of them despawn, and after that, I decided, nope, I'm just going to hold the prototype dart tips. I'm just going to do it this way. Honestly, it works fine. And then after each success, I pick them up and I drop them again to reset the timer on them. I think it's less than 5 minutes, like 2.5 minutes, maybe. It's got to be longer than that. It's got to be, maybe it is 5 minutes that you can leave things on the ground, but mine despawned relatively quick, so. And then there you go. You can see we got another tick on that, so now we have 5. So what I did when I did this method, I grinded for 200 dart tips. I would just, initially I think I did 250, but then I just grinded for 200 dart tips, walked back to the Shanty Pass, and I deposited them in my bank and I came back. I didn't personally like having that many on me in case something crazy happened, like a server shutdown or like the server got disconnected. There was a problem with people getting disconnected for a while due to an update being pushed out. Personally, I don't like having my full stack of darts on me. Now, what you can do is you could forego taking the cape. You could take your sleeping bag. You didn't even need the sleeping bag. I just always have it on me. You could take your sleeping bag, you could take your feathers, your hammer, and your technical plans, and you could just go sit in the tent and make the prototype dart tips there. You don't even have to walk back and forth. But this does require you to accurately be able to calculate how many feathers you need. And we will go take a look at the calculators and the success rate chart in a minute. I just wanted to get through this part to show you guys how to actually make the darts, how to actually do the dart tips, and the way that I did it. Now, most people will just take their feathers and sit in the tent and make them there, but the problem becomes that when you drop things out of your bag, it reorganizes your bag. Like if I just dropped the technical plans, right? See, it moves my dart tips. So if I take them and then I drop them, you can see it moves that back to where it is. But if you have the prototype darts on you, it makes it harder. You have too many things in your bag. Like you would wind up having 5 slots filled because you'd need. Well, I guess you didn't have to take your sleeping. Well, you would need to take your sleeping bag in that case. So you'd have your sleeping bag, you'd have your feathers, your hammer, your tentacle plants, your prototype darts, and then your prototype dart tips, which would move your prototype dart tips down to this block here. So you couldn't just like hover over the bag and then right click drop them really quick. So we'll access the bank chest and I'll pull out some feathers and then I'll show you guys. Really easy to make them. I think it's this right here. All right. Now, prototype dart tips require 10 feathers per one dart tip, but unfortunately with them, you can fail to make them. So there is a failure or success rate chart that is out there. It's on the old school RuneScape page, and it should be accurate because inside the code for OpenRSC, the success rate numbers are literally, it's literally written in there that they pulled the numbers from 2021 old school RuneScape. So there is actually an accurate success rate chart out there. We'll go ahead and make some here. You see we successfully attached, and you look at that, 875 Fletching XP. Now, if you fail them, like let's see if we can get a failure to happen here. I should be making them about a 70, 71, 72%. Now see, we failed them. We did not lose any dart tips. So if you're using the wiki calculator to calculate how long it would take you to get from, I don't know, I'll just throw it out there as a base number, 10 to 70, because you only need 10 fletching to make them. I don't actually know how much that would be. I started at 25 fletching, and from 25 to 70 was 1,004 dart tips. I think I did 1,010 dart tips to get from 25 to 70. But the problem becomes You need a lot of feathers. I started out with 10,000 feathers, and I think I needed to get another 5 or 6,000 feathers, something like that. I did one trip where I brought my account 1,800 feathers, and then I did another trip where I brought my account another 2,000 something feathers. So probably about 4,000, 4,500 more feathers. So almost 15,000 feathers, and actually more than that because I think I had 11,000 feathers. So probably about 15, maybe even 16,000 feathers were required for me to go from 25 to 70. But that's because we wound up failing a lot at the time. And the reason I say you need to bring your sleeping bag because look at how much fatigue we're building. You can only make like at this point I can only make like 6 darts or something before my fatigue is all the way up. So you need somewhere to sleep, and the sleeping bag would be perfect for that. And as you can see, I just lost some feathers. As you saw, I lost 10 feathers. But that is the method for doing prototype darts. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take you guys to the wiki, and we're going to start looking at some wiki information so you can get an idea of what it would take you to get from your level. We'll even do 10 to 70. We'll reference that back to my own. I made my own calculator because I didn't know how to fix the wiki calculator because the numbers were inaccurate on the wiki. So I made my own prototype Dart experience calculator in Excel. So let's move over to Opera. All right, so here we are in Opera. Now, where I go to is this RuneScape Classic wiki. All you need to do in the top is type skill calcs, and then you'll see this calculator. I guess you could type in calculators. So you see we have some calculators over here. I fixed the fletching one, at least for prototype darts. So let's look at how much it would take you to go from level 10 to level 70 at 1 times XP multiplier. And you can change your subcategory here. We're going to do darts. I actually don't know if darts from scratch would be on here. If you were making it from scratch or if you already had the dart tips. Okay. So I've currently fixed this. You can see now it says 10,340 feathers to 10 to 1,034 prototype dart tips. The 10 to 1 ratio that I told you before. So that is successful darts. So it would at base take you 10,340 feathers. If you successfully made every single dart, here's a hint, you won't. I mean, it would take you 10,340 feathers to make the 1,034 darts. So I started at level 25 and I needed 1,004 prototype darts. I needed at base 10,040 feathers, which I'll be honest, I don't actually remember how far I got with the initial 10K. I think it put me up into like the high 50s or early 60s before I ran out of feathers. Do with that as you will, but this is a perfect calculator to tell you. I would probably maybe recommend going to 80, at least for the magic short bow. But the problem would becomes that if you push for something like 85, for example, right? What would it take to get you from 10 to 85? That's a lot of feathers. I'm just saying. That is a lot of feathers. Now, you will successfully make them more often as you level up, so that is also something to think about. It's just going to cost you a lot initially if you start at 10. I probably would not start at 10. I'd probably start at like 20, 25. It's going to cost you a lot less. You know, it's going to cost you a lot more than 35,000 feathers if you started from level 10 or level 20. So, I was talking about the prototype dart tip success chart. So, the code itself for the game lists old school RuneScape 2021 as where they pulled the data from. I don't imagine they pulled the code. It's all open source, so they wrote it themselves. But the data is pulled from old school RuneScape. So luckily for us, old school RuneScape has this beautiful prototype dart creation chance chart. So you can see at 99, you have a 99%. You don't even have a 100% chance to make them at 99. But all the way down here at level, I guess you could do it at level 8. Oh, I guess it just goes down. At level 10, you have a 31% chance to make the darts. Now, you are going to level up really quick initially. It does start to build up as you go on, obviously. But as you go up, see, I started at 25, so I started with a 42% chance to make them. And at level 70, I have a 77% chance. But that the levels went super quickly. I mean, what took the longest for the prototype darts was just getting the darts. It just takes a long time to do it. Like I said, I do them in bundles of 200 just so that I don't sit there and bore myself to death or have something catastrophic happen and you lose a massive stack of them. I only lost 250, but imagine like I wasn't banking them, I could have lost like 4 or 500 and then I would have been sick. Really sick, more than I was when I lost them initially. But I would say even longer than that is getting the feathers. So you can farm the feathers, which I recommend. I think that's actually a perfect time to build a defense alt. So I've built a defense alt on my alt account. I got him to 40 defense, farming chickens for feathers. I had a little bit left over that I'm going to use towards steel arrows. Um, but it's a perfect time to build a defense alt. So later on down the line, if you're at the point where you want to start training on dragons, you'll have an account that can really properly body block for you, that can get like an anti-fire shield, can wear rune armor, etc., etc. It's the best fletching XP in RuneScape Classic. It's what I would recommend. If you're going to train fletching, that's the way to go. So like I said, you can take your feathers with you, but I recommend not doing that because you'll wind up having too many items in your bag. And instead of just clicking here and then right clicking here, you'll have to hover over this and then move your mouse here when you could just do this boop, 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 boop. And also, if you don't have a mouse that has reprogrammable buttons, but you do have a mouse that has extra buttons on it, like I have a Logitech wireless mouse that has, or not wireless mouse, but it's a Logitech Bluetooth, like really old Bluetooth mouse. It has a couple of extra buttons on the side. I have found a program that will remap those buttons. Even if you don't have a reprogrammable mouse, you can use your keyboard. Most keyboards have a number pad on it, so you could use that as well if you don't want to reprogram your mouse. But a reprogrammable mouse is very nice for this, makes it a lot easier to just instantly press it and never have to move your hand off of the mouse. But yeah, guys, that is it. I appreciate all the views. Hopefully, this helped some of you guys. If you would like more information or you're not 100% sure on some of the things that I talked about, let me know in the description and I will do my best to answer your questions. But with that being said, guys, have a good night.